Gentlemen, it is great to see you. Andy and Alex, how excited are you that Hamilton was filmed?
Great.
It's amazing.
We're so excited. I often think back that Jeffrey Seller, around the time that we were deciding to film Hamilton, was telling us a story. And the story was that he wished that he had had a camera in the theater to film Rent before the original cast disbanded, because he knew that there was something about the energy around the theater and around the show at that time that he wanted to capture. So he had the foresight to be able to decide to capture this moment in time for us. And when I watched the film, I'm instantly transported to a time when there was just like a lot of excitement about the show, and that was really there's an electricity in the room, and you feel that when you watch these performances in this film.
The show, early on, people would say, what's the show about? And it was hard to describe. And I would find myself saying, it's about finding out what's most important in your life and fighting for it with everything you have. And I think that comes out in the show. And that's an important message for right now in the many crises that we're facing. Like literally right as we're having this interview, outside my window, everybody's banging their pots and pans. It's 7 o'clock.
It's 7 o'clock.
We're thanking the workers. And in that way, the open questions of is change possible that are posed in our show, and the open points that say, this isn't perfect, this is flawed, this hero is flawed, but we have to go forward. Those messages are all so timely and so important. And in credit to Lynn's work, the message keeps evolving with our evolving needs as people. And it's really a privilege to be involved with a piece of art that does that.
And what it means to you that now it's going to reach even a wider audience, what that means to both of you. Andy, why don't you start?
Yeah, I've said a couple of times today that, I grew up with those vinyl albums of like Jesus Christ Superstar, West Side Story, and Chorus Line. And they changed my life. And I didn't have the ability to see those shows. And so my imagination exploded with what a Chorus Line might look like. And so now we're going to have this presentation of Hamilton that a 13-year-old kid in Detroit who can't get to the Fox Theater to see Hamilton, he'll get to see the show. And he'll learn our show, and it'll become part of his soul. And then, you know what he'll do? He'll say, I'm going to make my own version of Hamilton. Like I learned from that apple, and I'm going to make an orange. And so it's going to inspire people to become artists, but also to use art to deal with their lives. And that therapy, I think, is very important.
Yeah, I think what it's going to potentially open up for people is just they might know a little bit more about Broadway if they might not have before. And they might therefore try to research, hey, I want to learn more about Lin-Manuel Miranda and what he did. And I want to learn more about Sondheim. And that might inspire people. And they might want to be like, hey, that's what I want to do. And what I love about the film is that it captures what happened live on stage. And I still contend that when you go to live theater, you're watching someone perform a tightrope act, right? You're a little nervous because, like, are they going to be able to get through this? Are they going to be able to sing that high note or what have you? I think that's a visceral experience that we all long for. And I love that people will watch this film and think to themselves, my gosh, these people sang it that way live every night. And it's not any kind of studio manipulation that they might have thought happened with the cast album. No, that was them performing the show. And that might inspire them to potentially become performers themselves or creators themselves. And so I think what that will do for the community, I think will be great.
Well, gentlemen, it is always a pleasure to see the two of you. Just so you know, I will be there. I cannot wait to watch this live. Have the best time. Good to see you both.